In the two earlier videos, we talked about the labor shortage facing American agriculture and a solution to that shortage, the H-2A visa and guest worker program. Now it's time to talk about some problems with that system. In many instances, the migrants who come to work in the U.S. face abuse and unjust treatment from their employers, and U.S. workers suffer too. Many farmers prefer to employ H-2A workers over U.S. workers. H-2A workers come from a different country where they speak another language and have a different set of laws, and therefore they have greater difficulty asserting their rights in the U.S. if they face abuses. H-2A workers are also bound to the employers that request them and brought them to the United States, meaning that the migrant workers cannot leave and go to work on another U.S. farm if they feel that their employer is mistreating them, and that if they are fired, they have no choice but to go back to their home country. This makes the H-2A workers extremely less likely to report abuses than U.S. workers, for these guest workers who have traveled so far just for work, even a bad job is better than no job at all. In order to hire these more abusable workers, farmers do not always follow the recruitment rule and 50% rule set in place by the protections of the guest worker program. Some farmers also make the jobs of their native U.S. workers more difficult in the fields so that the native U.S. workers get so fed up that they quit and leave more room to hire vulnerable H-2A workers. Some of the common mistreatments H-2A workers encounter include getting their wages unfairly docked by a greedy employer, having to live in disgusting and unsafe housing facilities, being forced to work in unsafe conditions, or for dangerously long hours. Abuse and behavior like this from employers leads to the H-2A visa and guest worker program looking more like an evil capitalist plan than an awesome solution. Even farmers who follow all the guidelines of the program and treat their workers well complain about the H-2A system, saying it requires too much paperwork and involves too much bureaucratic red tape. So, how do we repair this system? More regulations? Greater oversight to make sure that the program's policies are actually getting enforced? Maybe, but that could lead to even more of the red tape farmers are currently complaining about. And heavier enforcement would require funding that the U.S. government just isn't willing to spend. The best solution on the market today seems to be a large work of immigration reform, which has taken on various names and forms over the past few years, and what we will refer to as the Add Jobs Bill. The Add Jobs Bill is a proposed piece of legislation which would provide people who are already living in the United States as undocumented individuals with a pathway for citizenship. This means that those undocumented workers currently laboring in American fields could stay in the U.S. and continue their work, gain citizenship, and become a stable and reliable workforce that U.S. agriculture can depend on. But sadly, the likelihood of anything like the Add Jobs Bill being passed into law is slim to none in our current political climate. Another difficulty in bringing changes to the H-2A visa system is that it isn't a very interesting topic to the American public. Farm workers don't have the same power over the American agenda as other, more visible immigration movements do, like the Dreamers movement. Unless the U.S. experiences widespread famine or some national produce disaster, it appears that little reform will come for the H-2A visa program in the future. In fact, it appears right now, with all the policies staying the same, that the H-2A program will continue to be used as it has been traditionally, if not more so. In the first 3 months of 2017, the Department of Labor approved 36% more applications for H-2A visas than it had within the same time period a year earlier. H-2A visa holders only make up about 10% of the country's agricultural labor force today, but many experts project that that number is going to increase to almost 20% in the next few years due to the heavy need for workers and the shrinking pool of undocumented workers to supply labor. Even a Trump vineyard put in a request for 29 H-2A workers in February of 2017. So, now you know about the H-2A visa program. Complex and complexly flawed. How would you think to fix it?